I want to talk about this one. A lot of times we talk with churches and organizations who just have the simple question, how do I get found on Google? Someone goes down to Google and says, I'm looking for a plumber in New York City, or I'm looking for a church in Lanham, Maryland. How do you get, where's my mouse? Is that there? Yeah. How do I get up here? What is this stuff? And if I'm on page 8, how do I get up here to page 1? So this is a big question, and there's whole companies whose only job is to spend time working with your website, paying them thousands of dollars a month to get you higher on the Google rank. Write this stuff down. This is killer, and this is free information. Getting found on Google is called SEO, search engine optimization. And if you're in the business world, or if your full-time job is something related to business or online marketing or advertising, you may have heard this phrase or know a little about it. But a lot of times churches don't really know how you get found on Google. They just think it's up to the Google, I don't want to say the Google gods, but it's up to chance. It's just if you have a great website and it looks really nice, you'll probably be up high on Google. But if you have an ugly website, you'll be on like page 10 of Google. That's not true at all. Not about the look. You know why? Because Google doesn't have eyes. Google picks through your code and prioritizes your site for certain reasons, and it can't see your website. It can only see your code. So start with that in mind. An ugly website, yeah, you don't want an ugly website, all right? But having a pretty website doesn't guarantee you're going to get high on Google. Let's talk about this. Paid ads versus organic. This stuff is called organic results. That just means nobody paid to get here. This just means Google thinks these are the most relevant results for that, whatever you typed in there. These people paid. When you click on whoever that is, they're going to pay a quarter or 10 cents or whatever it is. That's called Google AdWords. And you choose, this is a whole nother seminar, but basically if you have a budget and you want to get paid to be over here, you can do that. If you want to get found over here, you can do it for free. So let's talk about how to do it for free. If you have fresh content, is the most important thing you can do. If you never log into your site, you never make changes, and you have nothing new in your site, don't expect to ever get on a first page Google results. So the most important thing you can do to get found on Google is have fresh content often. Good stuff people can use, post it frequently. How frequently is frequently? I tell people if you log in and do something twice a month on your site, you're ahead of most churches. If you can do something every week, hey, you're doing great. Keep it up. So again, that's the best thing you do, fresh content. All that costs is time. It doesn't cost you anything. Time and a web person who can, post it for you. So hopefully you have a good website person. Question?
Yeah, John, you said Google doesn't have eyes. How's it knowing that you're doing fresh content?
Google has what's called an algorithm. An algorithm is like a big mathematical code. And it's kind of a secret, like the recipe for Coca-Cola. So they don't want you to know how they find it, but if you do these things, you will get found. How does Google know what you've got? Google keeps records of everybody's content for every day and reviews it to see, it scans your site every so often to see if you're adding stuff and what you change. So Google knows, it's memorizing everything on the web. And I said Google doesn't have eyes. It sort of has eyes in the sense that if you have pictures and images online, you can tell Google what that is. Like if you have a picture and you just have it called image 106, or if you have a digital camera, sometimes they're called like DMC 00013. That's a bad, Google sees that, but it doesn't know what your picture is. It just sees that number because that's what your image was called. But if you make that image called Pastor Tim Headshot, or local, Bowie First Baptist Church building. If you name your titles, Google then will know what that picture is. It's called alt text. And if you're a web person, you already know that. But if you have a web person, that's something they can do to your site, is to give the images alt text so they know what your pictures are. So fresh content, clean code we're not going to talk about, but I have a link on our blog so that you can send it off to your web person, or if you're the web person, you can look at that to know if your code is clean or not. And by clean, I just mean using the most newly accepted standards of web design. Like, if you go home, you're probably not popping into beta tape, right? You're watching a DVD. Same thing for websites. Don't be using outdated beta type stuff on your website. Use the modern tools. Best practices of web design, that's for your web person. Linking, if you have a lot of people out there with links to your site, Google sees, if you have a site that has one link to you, Google's going to prioritize a site that has 500 links to you as much higher. So the more links, the better. Popularity. If one person a month visits your site, Google's probably not going to rank it as high as a church that gets 5 million hits per month. So Google's going to take what's popular and keep it popular. And then lastly, the way to think about all this stuff is don't get bogged down in techie details. Focus on good stuff that your people want. What does your congregation want to know? What are they looking for? Find whatever it is and put it on your website. Those are the basics. And again, that's, we could do a whole night just on that, but a blog is the best thing you can do. A lot of churches have a website where they don't have an opportunity to post new content. So how do you do that? An easy way is to start a blog. A blog is just, it's like a free thing you can do online. We put some resources on our blog so that you can find links to free blogs that you can make. But basically, a blog is a fancy word for a website where you type a couple paragraphs every so often. And don't get intimidated by the word. A blog is just a place for you to just talk about whatever it is that you're interested in, that you think people want to hear. So if you're a pastor, you work at a church, a blog is your chance to talk about things happening in the community, upcoming events, reflections on past events, preparing people for an upcoming series, review or follow-up after a retreat, basically anything. And I guarantee you have enough ideas. If we sat down for 10 minutes after the seminar, I could help you find a year's worth of blog ideas. If you posted once a week, that's 52 blog posts a year. I guarantee you in 10 minutes, we could have 100 blog ideas coming out of you immediately. So again, don't be intimidated by the assumption that you don't have anything to say. You do. The trick is just disciplining and getting into the routine to say it. But a blog is the best way to be adding new content.